What is up, lads, and welcome back to another video on the Hooked On SuperCoach channel. In today's video, it is a BBL wrap-up. So round 7, has literally just wrapped up just a half an hour ago. We're getting this done Sunday night before work, and the game kicks off tomorrow, Monday. So we scored 830, which is, we'll get into it very shortly, but look, happy enough. I saw an 18, as you can see there, an 18 green arrow up, so I'm now sitting at a season rank of 352 overall. However, oh man, with that Sydney Sixers rain out, I'm sure it would have affected a lot of others worse than me probably, but still super frustrating, especially when I had Harper benched. But without further ado, let's get into today's video. Just before we start though, do I want to just ask you to like, comment, subscribe. I think I looked at the stats and there's like 90% of you aren't subscribed, so it's literally free, so just do it. You can always unsubscribe after, but don't do that. Sorry, the energy is low. We're trying to get through this potty out for you guys. So yes, starting us off here. This is what it should have been. I was playing around with it before because I got to suss out my trades because we're still, as I said, lockout just open, but I got to get this video out for you guys. So yeah, kicking us off here in the wicket keeping position, Josh Philippe with a big donut, and a big donut this week as well, with him being on the bye. So as we all know, the Sixers have the double in round 9 with the Hobart Hurricanes on the bye. However, in round 8, Sixers got the bye and the Renegades got the double this week. So yeah, Philippe, look, just before we get into all of that, I reckon all the Sixers players, try and hold as many as you can, especially with the likes of Stephen Smith, Mitch Stark possibly coming back. You're going to want these guys in your team. And if you're selling your Sixers players this week, they're going to be really, really hard to get back in on top of those other guns as well. So that's just my bit of advice, and what I'm looking at and what I'm going to be doing this week as well is, yeah, really looking to hold those Sixers if I can and look to move on others before I bring in a couple of the Renegades players. And no spoiler alert, but yes, obviously I'm bringing in 3 Renegades players as well. So yeah, Josh Philippe, nothing. Sam Harper, having a great season, the Golden Hat, 129 points. I'll be playing him this week. He's just in elite form, but yeah, as I mentioned there, that rain out for the Sixers game resulted in us getting Philippe 0, Jack Edwards 0, Joel Davies 0, Bwen Dorsh's 0, who I had benched anyway, but I'd also looped Wildermyth, so I got Salesman's score in there, so all these zeros actually counted toward my score. None of them dropped out there, so not ideal, but what can you do? However, we finally got the captaincy pick right. Matty Short, 134, and after the first game, it wasn't looking good. I think he scored about 11 points, 13 points from memory, and I know a lot of people who did VC ended up riding it on like a Cooper Connolly sort there, and it's insane, those sort of swings this season. What I found, like my learnings for this season, playing the first time, I reckon just stick with the masses with the captaincies. I've tried to go on a bit rogue a couple rounds in a row. It's really cost me a good season rank. I reckon I'd be in the top 100 if I'd just gone with the masses, like Jack Edwards and then whoever it was 2 weeks ago there. But yeah, look, that's what I'm going to be doing this week as well with the Renegades players. But yeah, look, Matty Short, 134 points. It's just nice that had 13 points in the first game, but he got saved with the 121. What did he get? A wicket, 50 runs, and a solid strike rate there. So yeah, you'd be happy with that. Jamie Overton, 69. Look, extremely disappointing. He's hardly bowling anymore, and he's just not getting any runs from. I'm looking to move him on this week. I'd recommend you do him. You'd look to sell him before, your Sixers players. But yeah, extremely disappointing. Going on to another disappointment, Chris Lynn. My God, he's just not at the form he was at the Brizzy Heat, is he? He is just, he's a waste man these days. Him and Glenn Maxwell really be my letdowns this year, but I'm looking to move him on this week. He's done my head in. I'm kind of stuck with Maxwell now at that price, but yeah, mate, Chrissy Lynn, he looks past it now. However, in good news, Liam Scott, he played really well in the first game, got like no points in the second game, but still, you'll take that. You think he got about 98 runs or 90 something runs not out, pretty much carried the strikers that game there. Performed really well, however, I'm looking to move him on this week, I do believe there. Moving on to the bench, Glenn Maxwell, 24 points, not looking to play him anytime soon. And Wardia there, only playing the first game, got 29 points. I knew it wouldn't be enough it's just not worth looping there, and so happy I benched him there. Moving on now to the bowlers, we had Cooper Connolly, 30 points. Now, wow, his form over the past couple, especially with the bat, has really dropped off, and again, in this game, got another duck. So, look, I'm going to keep him, because as I said, these all-rounders is what you want in your team, but it's funny, he started the season so well, and he's hit a bit of a poor patch at the moment, but someone who hasn't, has just been so consistent throughout the whole season, has been Stoinis. So another 74 there, taking his average to 80 points, and God, he is good. With the bat, with the ball, he can kind of do it all, and it really shows with the SuperCoach scores. I'm pretty sure he's he's got the highest amount of total points in the whole comp, so he's doing an excellent job there for the Stars. Won't touch on the Sixers boys again. Mitch Owen, I suppose if you loaded up with the Hobart Hurricanes players, you'd be hurting, because not only did no one got any wickets or anything, you got a couple of dot balls for your Hobart Hurricanes players in the Sixers game today, but they've got the bye as well, not this week, next week, so I don't know, I reckon you can start looking to move on all your Hobart Hurricanes players. They've got a decent matchup this week against the Heat, except now with all the Heat players, Uzi Marnus back, I reckon they're on for a run home, and they'll be in the finals. So I reckon you can start looking to move your Hobart Hurricanes players on there, but in the same sense, decent matchup this week, so no real rush. As I mentioned there, looped Wildermyth with Salzman, 74 points, got off to an absolute flyer there. I was at the Gabba on Saturday. Pretty good game. It was all wrapped up pretty easily though, with the way Jack Wildermyth and Usman Khawaja opened it there for the Heat. And then Aaron Hardy, again, this bloke has been really good. I've been very impressed with not only his bowling but his batting. So he's been super consistent. A bit of a slow start, but he's really warmed up, whereas I feel like Cooper Connolly started really hot and has now dropped down a little bit there. But yeah, mate, Aaron Hardy, very happy to have him in. So that was the week that was. 8:30, as I mentioned there. If I had played Sam Harper, and it doesn't really matter, I couldn't care less about Glenn Maxwell and Whitey's score. And then in here, if I just started Wildermyth, could have been a much bigger green arrow, but at least I got my captain right, so happy enough with that. Let's now have a look at the 10 most traded in and out players for the week. So sitting in, we'll give it a refresh. So this is as at like half an hour after lockout, so I'm sure these players will probably change the earlier we get into it, but let's have a look. We'll go by the top 10%, as I said, active sort of players here. Number 1, Jamie Overton, and look, I completely agree. He got whacked with his bowling in the game today. His batting, he hasn't got runs in quite a while now. Look, he is an all-rounder, but the strikers just haven't looked too good, so I reckon you can very easily move him on there. Second off, Nathan Ellis. Yeah, look, he, as I mentioned, decent matchup this week, but decent price tag. Got the bye next week, so I'm happy if you move him on there. Liam Scott, I agree. Look, he had a bit of a fluke innings maybe. Isn't bowling at all now, and yeah, look, it's just not value. Like Jamie Overton and Liam Scott, so good for the double, but when we've got the double this week for the Renegades, you kind of want to attack that. So yeah, you can move him on there. Ben McDermott. Yeah, look, as I mentioned, they got the bye last week. I'm assuming most of these players will bring it in Seifert, so if you're doing that, yep, like that trade. Chris Lynn, yep, sell him, get him out of my time, get him out of my season, get him out of my team. Never again with the man, the trap. Jack Edwards, look, as I mentioned there, if you're going to need to fund some of these trade-ins this week, I get selling your Jack Edwards and whatnot, but I just really want you to be cautious with your Sixers players. You're going to want Steve Smith and Mitch Starc as well, so just factor that in when you're selling these players and I'll buy them back. are you actually going to be able to buy him back? So yeah, I would much prefer selling all these guys before your Sixers players, essentially. Chris Jordan, yeah, move him on. Mitch Owen, as I mentioned, I might just look to hold for one more week against the Heat. I think he might do alright. His first batting innings, he got about, I think it was 39 or something off 6 or 8. He was flying. Heaps of sixes. Sorry, it would have been 33 off 9 or something. He was looking really, really good there. So yeah, I'm looking to hold him, and so yeah, I wouldn't be in a rush to sell him just yet. And Joel Davies sitting in 10th, as I mentioned there, would not sell any of the Sixers players just yet. So I agree with most of those traded out, apart from the Sixers players and probably Mitch Owen. Looking at who's everyone bringing in, no surprises is obviously, or the Melbourne Renegades players. It's too late at night. We're getting this potty out for you guys, so hopefully you appreciate it, eh? Number 1, Hassan Khan. So, look, this bloke's been super impressive with the ball, with the bat. As I mentioned, he's a bit of an all-rounder. I love my all-rounders. Hasn't been too successful with the bat, but he's one of those players who bowls and bats pretty high up. And he's starting to get a few more wickets, being a bit more economical. The runs might come, they might not. For the number 1 target, for the Renegades, I don't know, but I like the trade-in. I'll be bringing him in myself. But the bloke I'm probably the most keen on is Josh Brown. This guy is in form. I looked at him weeks and weeks ago when he was about 80k or whatever he was, and ever since then, he's really hit the gears. So yeah, 70k, got this 51. And look at this, 51, 68, 129, 42, 115. And he's got 2 decent matchups this week and the strikers in the last week, so you can hold them if needs be. But I'm sure you'll be looking to get your Starkeys and your Steve Smiths there. But yeah, I'm super keen on Josh Brown this week, and he's the first player I'm bringing in this week. I know he doesn't bat and bowl, but the form he's been in, he can hit a cricket ball, and if he gets over 20 runs, he'll always get the 25 strike rate with his batting, the way he bats there. So yeah, really, really keen on Josh Brown this week. As I mentioned, the Hassan Khan, get it. Will Sunderland, I also like this trade in the most. I think the top 3 here are who I'm the most interested in and who I'm going to be bringing in this week. Yeah, as I mentioned there, Will Sunderland, captain of the team, gets his 4 overs in the bowling, bats a bit lower down, but with that batting lower down, there is a chance if he does get the 20 runs, he'll also get the strike rate because he's usually later on in, and he'll just go for a whack. Tim Seifert in 4. Started the season with that one really good innings and hasn't really done much since. It's been really Josh Brown's show. But, as I said, Josh Brown's now 163k. He's not cheap, and Seifert's half the price. So, depending on how you want to facilitate your trades, you could bring him in over your Josh Browns and whatnot. Perfectly viable, but I think just those top 3, I'm a bit more interested in there. Number 5, Sandhu had a bad game this week, but he's one of the leading wicket takers in the Big Bash. I like him as an option if you've got the boost, but I think those 3, Hassan Khan, Brown and Sunderland, are probably your top 3 priorities. Just because Sandhu doesn't bat. He's a good bowler, don't get me wrong, but when he doesn't get wickets, like he gets 11 points, so a bit more of a risk, but could pay off if you're a bit more of a pod. Or yeah, if I had the boost, I would be going Sandhu there. Jason Behrendorff, if you again another cheaper option, absolutely killed it last year and just hasn't been his year. As you can see, it dropped 100k. So I don't know, if you're after a punt and you need to take a risk, you get him in. But yeah, look at this, just not pretty viewing there. So that's a gut feeling. I couldn't personally go there or recommend, but that's up to you. Same as Fraser McGurk. I love Fraser McGurk. It's just not been his year. He hasn't really strung any games together too well. I think he should bat higher up the order personally for the Renegades, but who am I suppose? Yeah, look, he could do well. Bit more of a punt. Only bats though, and if you're going for the batter, as I said, Josh Brown is your man there. Alex Carey, he played really well, opened for the strikers. I don't know, maybe it's negative 12 break even. I don't know if I'd be bringing him in this week against the Stars, unless you've got a bunch of Renegades players ahead. But yeah, look, I'm probably not all about that trade. I think that's just an impulsive. They've just played. Supercoach has just opened up and people are just going off the initial there. Mohamed Rizwan, nah, I don't like this one. He bats so slow, like his strike rate is absolutely terrible, and he's the keeper. He's not a bad keeper, but as a batter with a strike rate for Supercoach, I don't like him. I much prefer Hassan Khan sort of there, and Tim Seifert. And then Adam Zampa, a bit more of a punt. I probably prefer Zampa actually over Behrendorff. Just is coming back, but yeah, I think Sunderland, Josh Brown and Hassan Khan are the three players you really want to target and bring in this week. So that leads us in nicely to the team. But before we get into the team and my trades for the week, let's have a look how the league's doing. So in the penultimate week for Supercoach, you can join the league still 883141. We've got Bangle Matthew sitting in 247th overall. Here you go, Captain Overton. So missed out a few points there. Jackie Edwards, Joel Davies, Ben Dorshus. So same as me. And he had Ellis, Ahmed, Ben McDermott, Mitch Owen. He would be annoyed. I don't doubt at all with that game being called off. And we're just going to go on a bit of a tangent. I do prefer, well, obviously I like NRL. It's just a more entertaining sport, I believe. But from a Supercoach perspective, I think they've got to do something about that rained out nonsense. So, like, I don't know, just give them all DNPs, but yeah, it's just, it gets very messy very quick. But yeah, I think they've got to look into that moving forward there. But hopefully you guys can get back up there. Ouch, 727, so we'll get a massive red arrow. But yeah, as I said, an 18 green arrow up to 352. I take it. Hopefully we can push forward to finish up in the top 200. So how are we going to do that? The trades this week, as I've mentioned, probably throughout the video, you could guess who I'm keen on and who I'm looking to sell. Chrissy Lynn, Jamie Overton, and Liam Scott. And who are we looking to bring in? We're looking to bring in Hassan Khan, Josh Brown, and Will Sunderland there. Can I sell? Who was I looking at selling? Chris Lynn and Jamie Overton can go. Liam Scott we could hold, and we would need 135k. Who's got the funds? Anyone worthy? Not really. I really want to keep most of these players. As I said, I could sell a Joel Davies there, but I just don't think that's going to be worth it. Yeah, Liam Scott. I agree with this. Yeah, Liam Scott, Jamie Overton, Chris Lynn, get him out of there. There I'll bring in Hassan Khan, Sunderland, Josh Brown, Seifert, and Behrendorff. Let's just have a quick look at. Let's have a look at their ownership in the top 1%. Sort by Renegades. Obviously, these figures are going to change massively by the time lockout kicks off tomorrow, but I'm just trying to get this video out for you guys tonight because we're back at work tomorrow. Will Sauer, the most popular Renegades player, is a bloke that doesn't play. How fitting. In second, Hassan Khan, Sunderland, Sandu. Yeah, I don't mind the Sandu punt, but yeah, I'm more keen for a Josh Brown play, especially the way he's been batting. He's been in really good form there, and as I said, I want to keep the Sixers players, especially because they've got the double next week, and I'm going to want Starkey and Smith, and so to get those two on top of Jack Edwards or whoever you're selling this week, it would be impossible. The funds just aren't going to work. I'm going to have to sell 3 good players, bring in those two, and then bring in a cheapie sort of thing. So yeah, for this week we are going Chris Lynn to Brown, Overton to Hassan Khan, and Liam Scott to Sunderland. We'll confirm that. That leaves 19k in the kitty. Let's optimize it. We are going to vice captain Josh Brown, and then we can bring him down. We'll keep one. Oh, we're gonna have to play Glenn Maxwell. Oh, well, against the strikers, I suppose that isn't the worst. Alright, I think this is how we're going to be lining up this week. Depth is pretty weak, but as I said, I really want to fly home with the Sixers players next week. And I think they're going to do pretty well at the SCG and then at the Gabba on Sunday there. Oh no, I probably can't do this. I've just realised. I've got Joel Davies there in the flex. And all. Okay. Change of plans. We're going to have to keep one of those strikers players. Oh, which one do I keep? I'm going to have to sell one of the Sixers players. Alright, let's see what we can do here. The depth is going to be tested. So, let's optimize it before. Yeah, so I could sell Chris Lynn, I am sick of. I don't care about the value with him. Overton and Scott. Maybe I have to keep one of these three. Overton's probably the best, but I'm gonna want Edward. I'm gonna sell Gwen Dorcius because Stark is gonna come back in. Who's he gonna replace? He's not gonna replace Edwards. He's been in great form. To be fair, Ben Dorcius is just coming off 4 for 8 or whatever ridiculous figures, but I do think he's going to be the one that makes way. There's also Sean Abbott next week as well there. So yeah, I think Ben Dorcius is not a bad sell in my instance, especially because I think he might actually not play for the Sixers in the double. Hopefully not. That is slightly unfortunate. The depth is getting tested there, but let's see if we can still afford it. Sunderland, Josh Brown. We can't either. We cannot either. This is the trade dilemmas. So I haven't looked into it too much. As I mentioned, it's just opened. So I want Sunderland and I definitely want Josh Brown. I'm going to have to keep Chris Lynn, aren't I? And play him as well. Who are they versing? The Stars. I just do not want to do that. Sunderland, Scott, Lynn. Not Matt Shaw, but Jamie Overton. Alright, we can do Lynn, Overton, Brown, Sunderland. This is what I'm definitely going to do that. And then it's going to be down to which third Renegades player I'm going to bring in. How does that set us up then? We'll go VC, Brown, C Stoinis, honestly, at that rate. Yeah, the way he's been playing against a pretty decent matchup there, I don't mind. I always chase the upside though, so I'll probably end up running it with Josh Brown anyway. But let's have a look how we line up. Sammy Harper in keeper, Josh Phillippe on the bench, Hardy, Connolly, Captain Stoinis, Josh Brown, Sunderland there. Happy with that. Maxwell can come down. Oh my god, they've benched Maxwell over Wardia. That just sums up Maxwell's season there. I don't want to reserve more than one in each spot, so just no one on the bench there. Matt Short, Liam Scott. But he's just not bowling anymore. Jack Wildermith, Mitch Owen, Salzman. And Salzman isn't going to play either. So this third trade is going to be a Sixer bowler. I think that's going to be the best play here. I would ideally like to sell Liam Scott, but just with the depth and looking at everything, and this just goes to show that you've got to look forward. And so that's what I'm trying to do for next week with the Sixers players. But yeah, alrighty. So I'm just gonna have to sell Ben Dorcius, but the question is, who are we going to get? Who are we going to end up on? So for tonight and for the video, because I'm conscious this is dragging out and it's getting later and later before I got to get up for work tomorrow. Oh, there you go. We can afford it. Hassad can't. Perfect. Sorted. Alright, no worries. I don't know why I swear it said I couldn't afford that trade before. I'll have to watch that back and see what I was looking at there. But that's how I reckon I'm going to end up going with it. Sammy Harper, Connolly, Captain Stoinis, BC Brown. Oh, Khan could be a play as well with the batting and bowling. And Thunder. Thunder's batting isn't great, so I might want to bat a bowler. Sunderland could be a bit of a pod play, but I think I'm going to go Hassan Khan. Depends. If the Renegades bat first, I'm going to do what I always do. If Renegades end up batting first, I'm going to go Captain Brown. I just like the batting first, getting the captain done, watching a bit more entertaining. However, no worse feeling when he gets out for 11 runs or whatever Matty Short did in the first game, but as it shows, second game's always there to save you. Happy days there. So yeah, we'll go Hassad Khan for now, but we might change it to Joshy Brown later on. Sunderland there, happy with that. Let's bring one of them down so we have one in each section here. Bang, bang, bang. Yep. Oh. Yeah, and then bowlers, Hardy, Short, Scott, Wildermith, Owen. And then we're bringing in Maxwell to the team. Yep, so this is how we are looking to line up this week. So probably a little bit weak, especially with my sixes, but I'm really trying to hold them for, as I mentioned, that double next week. But all in all, hopefully we can see some green arrows. Joshy Brown is your man this week. He's going to be the one that gets it done for you. Let's do it, legends. Alright, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers, guys. Cheers.